February is Black History Awareness Month. I've had this quote on my table for 2 years now. Caring for myself is not self-indulgence. It is self-preservation. And that is an act of political warfare. When I first saw it, I didn't fully understand the weight of Audre Lorde's words. But over time, I've learned that it carries more than just personal meaning. It carries history, struggle, and resistance. So in this video, I want to honor the extraordinary Audre Lorde for her contributions to liberation, education, and the never-ending pursuit of equality for marginalized persons everywhere. This is for Black History Awareness Month, for the context that's often forgotten when this quote is used, for all marginalized and persons of color fighting to exist and create, and for every artist who's trying, who's fighting the good fight, and still choosing to be a decent human being. Audre Lorde said, "Caring for myself is not self-indulgence. It is self-preservation. And that is an act of political warfare." When I first read that, I thought, well, that doesn't really apply to me because I'm just an artist. I just draw. I just make things. Who am I fighting? As I continue my journey as an independent creator, I am realizing that creating is fighting. Creating is resistance. Maybe I am fighting. I'm fighting the idea that I'm only as valuable as what I produce. I'm fighting the idea that my value is tied to my productivity. I'm fighting the guilt of resting. I'm fighting the thought that if I slow down, I'll disappear. I was raised to believe that if I wasn't pushing harder, doing more, being more, putting 150% always, then I wasn't enough. And even now, I catch myself thinking, if I don't post, if I don't produce, if I don't draw, if I don't keep up, then who am I? What am I worth? What do I bring to the table? Audre Lorde's words remind me that my being is already enough. And even though it doesn't fully encapsulate the sheer magnitude of what she was experiencing, and even though this quote has been written before I was born, I feel like it is still relevant to this day, to this present time where we live. Taking care of myself is not laziness. Taking care of yourself is not laziness. And Audre Lorde made me realize that an exhausted artist is not a better artist, and that capitalism is a liar, and I don't have to prove my worth through productivity. Nothing ever happened in the past. It happened in the now. That's Eckhart Tolle. And it hit me because so much of my anxiety comes from worrying about what happened yesterday and chasing what could happen tomorrow, chasing someday. Someday I'll rest. Someday I'll get better. Someday I'll gain more followers. Someday people will pay more for my art. Someday I'll be good enough. Someday I'll feel proud. Someday. But what if I don't get a someday? What if this exact moment, this exact body, this breath, this is all I have? How can I treat it with care? How can I savor it with more intention, with more heart, more humanity? You can't be present if your mind is fried, if your body aches. You can't be present if your heart is exhausted. We have to take care of ourselves because If we don't, then who will? Rest is revolutionary. Play, rest, and create. Julia Cameron says serious art is born from serious play. And I've been thinking about that too, because I used to play when I didn't draw. I played a lot. I lived outside my art and tried rock climbing. I was on a radio program. And I wanted to go back further, way further. When I used to draw without posting, when I used to draw without this expectation and anticipation of external validation. That point where I used to create without proving anything. When did that time stop? I don't remember. Do you remember? What if rest isn't the pause between work? What if rest is part of the process? What if the quiet moments, the long walks, the silly sketches, the hot showers, the days where I do nothing are not wasted time, but sacred time? Austin Clayon says, forget the noun, do the verb. When I first read this, I was like, what? What do you mean? That means instead of obsessing over being an artist, I should just create. Instead of worrying about being productive, I should just create when I can. Instead of trying to prove my worth, I should just be. Because if Audre Lorde was right, and I believe she was, she still is, then taking care of myself, trusting my own pace, honoring my own rhythm, believing in my own pace, that is not just self-care. It's necessary. It's survival. It's rebellion. It's freedom. And I guess this is my way of being punk rock. People would tell me, you should just get a job. You should just put your art to the side and get a job, like everyone else. Because this is crazy. Nobody does this. This is crazy, you're crazy. But I want to rebel. I want to resist. And yeah. So I'm trying to rest when I need to, trying to listen to my body. I'm trying to play without guilt. I'm still trying to rest without guilt. I'm not gonna tell you that I rest and I don't worry about, oh, I should do this. I should write something. I should scribble something. I should post. Because I always get that. Because I always feel guilty. And maybe that's why I'm so exhausted, because I'm still learning how to properly rest. I need to remind myself that my art, my work, my existence doesn't have to be justified. And if you know, I was raised in a very traditional Asian household. So I was primed. It was ingrained to me that I had to justify everything. I need to get something out of everything that I do. But we don't really have to do that. I'm learning. So let's take the break. Get some rest. And really, really get some rest without feeling guilty. It's hard, but it's necessary.
Rest is revolutionary. Self-care is revolutionary. Why? Do you know why? I know why. Do you know why? And if you don't know why, do you know why you don't know? It's because of disability. Disability. Oh, well, it's Black History Month. We're not talking about that disability shit. Yes, we are. I am. The majority of the people you're talking about this month have a disability. Did you know that? But I digress. The reason why self-care was revolutionary is because of Audre Lorde. To quote Audre Lorde, caring for myself is not self-indulgence, it is self-preservation. And that is an act of political warfare. But understand the context of why she said that. It was in her writings on her experience with cancer. Cancer had effectively disabled Audre Lorde. It changed the way she interacted with her body and the world around her. In her cancer journal, she consistently talks about being exhausted and needing to rest to restore herself. Because if she didn't, she would not have the energy to do everything else that mattered to her in her community. Audre Lorde had to develop a different relationship with her body and the world around her in order to carry on, to do the work that she was doing. That's why rest was revolutionary. It wasn't lush bath bombs. It was developing a new relationship with a body that had been disabled by a very trying and deadly disease, while simultaneously being Black in a world that was slowly killing her. That's why self-care is revolutionary, because it was somebody Black coming to terms with how disability and illness had changed her.